Hello, my name is Hannah Hinojosa, and I'm going to be offering my rebuttal to my partner's thoughtful presentation on whether hospitals should have legal rights to sue patients for unpaid medical bills. First, I want to commend Laura for highlighting a serious ethical dilemma. She's absolutely right that medical debt is a massive problem in the United States, and that it can have devastating effects on working families. However, while I share her concern for fairness and compassion for healthcare, I believe her argument overlooks key financial and ethical responsibilities and realities that hospitals face. Realities that make limited legal action both justifiable and sometimes necessary. Let's start with the idea that suing patients is fundamentally unfair. It's important to remember that hospitals, even nonprofit ones, operate within strictly tight and extremely tight financial margins. According to the AHA, American Hospital Association, more than half of the U.S. hospitals ended 2023 with negative or near zero operating margins. Many of these facilities, especially in rural areas, are struggling to stay open. When a hospital closes, entire communities lose not just medical services, but jobs, emergency care, and local stability. So while suing patients should always be the last resort, removing the equal right entirely could push more hospitals towards financial insolvency, which would harm far more patients in the long run. Laura also argues that suing patients damages trust and violates the mission of healthcare, but that assumes that all lawsuits are predatory or unnecessary. In reality, hospitals file collection actions only after exhausting months or even years of outreach, payment plans, and financial assistance. The BMJ Open study she cited actually shows that most hospitals don't use lawsuits frequently. Only 26 out of the top 100 did so between 2018 and 2020. This suggests lawsuits are rare, targeted tools, rather than standard practice. We should also recognize when patients fail to pay, hospitals absorb those losses that eventually get passed to other patients through higher prices and insurance premiums. In other words, unpaid bills don't just disappear. Someone always ends up having to pay for them. Allowing hospitals a legal path to recover at least a portion of the debt is a way to maintain fairness across the system. Now, Laura mentioned that many patients sued were low-income individuals who might have qualified for charity care. That's true, and it's an area where hospitals must do better. But the solution isn't to ban lawsuits entirely. It is to improve transparency and screening so that only those who can reasonably pay are even taken to court. We can support legislation requiring clear communication about financial aid, mandatory review before legal action, and oversight to ensure hospitals act ethically. That's reform, not elimination. Another point to consider is deterrence. If hospitals completely lose their ability to collect payment, some individuals who can pay but choose not to exploit the system. A small percentage can cause significant financial harm over time. Responsible legal collection provides a necessary accountability mechanism, ensuring the system isn't abused while still protecting those who generally cannot afford care. Laura also referenced studies showing that lawsuits recover relatively small amounts of money. This may be true in isolated cases, but context matters. For a large urban hospital, $3,000 might be minor. For a small community facility, it can be the difference between staying open or closing a maternity ward. The point is not the individual amount. It's the cumulative financial sustainability that allows hospitals to continue offering services, including charity care, to those who need it most. Finally, let's address the ethical dimension. Compassion is essential in medicine, but compassion must coexist with responsibility. Hospitals are not faceless corporations. They are complex organizations that must pay nurses, maintain equipment, and meet regulatory standards. When they cannot collect revenue, the entire ecosystem suffers. leading to layoffs, reduced services, and ultimately fewer care options. So what's the balanced approach? Require thorough financial screening and document outreach before any lawsuit. Prohibit collection actions against patients below a certain income threshold. Mandate public reporting and oversight to prevent abuse. Encourage hospitals to expand productive financial counseling before debt becomes unmanageable. To conclude, Laura is right that the current system often fails patients, but eliminating hospitals' right to sue could create an even greater failure, one where vital institutions collapse under uncollectible debt, leaving everyone worse off. Instead of choosing between compassion and accountability, we should build a system that honors both. Thank you.